psalmist said in Psalm 71, he said, "When I'm old and gray-headed, forsake me not, O God, until I show your strength to this generation and your power to the next one." Here at Next Worldwide, we share the same passion as the psalmist in this way. That we desire to live our lives by the power and grace of God in such a way that we not only demonstrate, but also declare His power, His glory, His majesty to the next generation. We are meeting more and more students who are becoming bored with simply reading the story, but rather they are looking for ways to live God's story.
This was my first time out of the country, my first time on a mission trip, my first time on a plane. Everything was really a first for me.
Just to go up and talk to someone and just talk to them about Jesus was just not something that I'm used to.
The scariest thing was probably whether or not I was going to know how to go through the presentation right or not.
There's definitely kind of like fear of the language. We got to use the translators and speak through them, and I would talk to the translator, they would translate it to the Costa Rican. The Costa Rican would speak back to the translator, and the translator would speak back to me. And going into this trip, I thought that it was going to be difficult, and I didn't know how comfortable I would be with doing that because I wouldn't be able to directly communicate with that person. And I thought, how in the world is this going to work? Are they going to want to hear what I'm saying? But the Costa Ricans, they were just so wanting to hear the word, and they just wanted to know about Jesus, and that was the coolest thing.
Well, Next made it more comfortable to me, just giving the keys of the kingdom, just a tool to share the gospel, and it made it to where we didn't have to have all the words already figured out, but it was just a simple way to present the gospel, and it was very visual for people to see it.
So I always thought that sharing the gospel was complicated, but it's really not. It's quite simple, because just realizing that it's not me who is trying to save her. God already has it mapped out. It's the Holy Spirit, and it's His Word that's working. And so just from today, have a little bit more confidence to go in my daily life and to just share the scriptures with people, share God's love with people.
Yo les agradezco por haber venido a este lugar a enseñarnos y a instruirnos en algo, le digo yo, que es algo muy bueno porque Dios nos mandó a ser discípulos.
We so many times think that nobody wants to hear my story, or nobody wants to hear the truth of the gospel. But what we experience all over the world is that people are ready to hear that God has been working in their lives for months or years.
I really liked the leadership training because it made you really evaluate characteristics of your personality and just how that relates to how you interact with other people, and especially when you're trying to do something like share your faith. It's just really important.
We've developed a leadership curriculum that while we're on the field, we take some time in the morning, this catalytic moment that we have in the life of a student, and we challenge them to think about being on mission with God, being a great leader, and then changing that perspective from being a consumer of Christianity. Church is a place that I go to get something, but being a contributor, being a leader, and being on mission with God, being on mission with God's plan for my church, and really God's plan for the church to take the gospel to every nation.
Well, it's really just the whole package. I mean, the material is great, and they hit these different topics that are going to be important to anybody. And the thing they try to stress to the kids is that we're all leaders.
It's amazing that throughout all of the training, the gospel is center. And they encourage these children to use their faith to encourage others, to use their faith to walk with people and disciple.
They did a leadership training, Catalyst, huge for our group. They spent the day investing in us so that when we came home, it was not just about the trip. It was not just a means to an end. It was really about coming home and this being what's next, what's lived out when we get home.
This is not just another mission trip. This is not another camp. Not that there's anything wrong in and of that, but that it's truly a hands-on, an absolute life-changing event.
One of the things we value at Next is the aspect of being able to take the logistics and the planning off of the youth minister so that the youth minister can actually do what he signed up to do, and that is minister to students.
A lot of times when I go to events, the main thing that's running through my mind is what's coming next logistically. So whether that's plane tickets or translators or hotels, whatever that would be logistically, my mind is constantly trying to run through that, making sure that we're good to go on all that stuff. But going with Next Worldwide, I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff, and that really freed me up as a student minister to be able to pastor my students well.
And what I learned very quickly was the safety of my child was one of the #1 areas of concern for Next also. So they did such an amazing job.
They're really working hard to make it easy for me, and even me as a parent, and so I've greatly appreciated that.
Everything just seems to go without a hitch. And we've done, gone everywhere from South America all the way to Africa, and just things work. It's way more than you could do on your own.
We love the next generation for many reasons. I believe one of the reasons is because we all have this sense that God is going to do something perhaps with them that He has not done with any other generation.
Go and experience what God is doing in other countries. It's beyond what you can imagine. There's so much more off your front doorstep.
I got pushed out of my comfort zone a lot this week, and I think that helped a lot because it helped me learn a lot about how I can share the gospel with people that I didn't think I ever could.
God is amazing. He used me more than I would have imagined in a million years.
It really is okay to do something new and to let God use you in a way you would never know.
You can't help but see God working through these people and in these people and in ourselves too, and it's just really awesome and makes you want to come home and carry that out in everyday life.
Right now, it's your turn to glorify God. You should be living the story that He's prepared. He's been writing this book for ages, and I'm excited to be a part of it, and you should be too.